Good afternoon. I've been using Fuji's 16mm 2.8 for the last couple months, and it's quickly become one of my favorite lenses. What I'd like to do today is just spend about 5 minutes talking about why that's the case. I'm very lucky that I also have Fuji's 16mm 1.4, which I've had for a couple of years now, and I must admit it's a lens that I didn't use a lot. So I questioned myself when I decided to pick up the smaller 2.8. So before I get into the two lenses, what I want to do is talk about why I like wide-angle lenses. It allows you to get in very close to the subject. It's almost like macro photography. Even though you're very close to the subject, having that wide angle allows a lot of the environment to show up in the frame as well. By placing the subject in the foreground, there is no doubt for the viewer of the photograph what the focus of the photo is. However, with a wide angle lens, it allows you to bring a lot more context into the frame, and this is something that you're unable to do with, say, a 50mm lens or higher. So do I have a preference between the two? Quite frankly, I think these are two completely different lenses. This one, I'll say, is so much smaller than the 1.4, a lot lighter than the 1.4 as well. So when I do street photography, what I tend to do is take this one out with the small 23mm, the small 35mm, and the 50mm. Having these three in my bag and this on my camera allows me a great deal of flexibility, and my back is not going to be killing me by the end of the day. So the great thing about the 2.8, given its size, is it allows you to get very close to the subject. You can be close, but because of the wide angle, they may not even realize that they're in the frame. The disadvantage is you have to make sure that you're not going to distort the subject. So with a wide angle lens, if your subject is placed on the edges of your frame, it can result in some weird distortion. However, that might be something that you're trying to do for creative purposes. So I tend to use the 1.4 when I'm working. So I work in healthcare. I do some simulations of workflow. This is great on my X-T2. I'll put the camera on a tripod. I'll put the tripod in the corner of the room, and it allows me to capture most of what's going on in that empty patient room as we're doing some simulations. I've also done some work on the side, doing some event photography. This has been wonderful because it really allows you to capture what's going on in the venue. It's also really good when it begins to dim down, and the low light capabilities of this lens has been wonderful. The 16mm focal length is also great for vlogging. I use it all the time in my YouTube videos. Last, would I recommend that you buy the 1.4 or the 2.8? My recommendation is that if you're able to, you purchase both of them. If you're only able to purchase one, the 2.8 I think would be fantastic for street photography. It'll also allow you to do the vlogging, and the only drawback is it doesn't have the low light capabilities that the 1.4 does have. If you have enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you could hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you very much.